Okay, so we've all seen those videos online, right? The ones where a dog completely loses it when their owner comes home. But cats, well, they often just kind of look at us like we're another piece of furniture.
Yeah, it's a classic cat move.
So today we are diving deep into the mystery of how cats recognize us because, let's face it, it's not always obvious.
It's a question that's fascinated cat lovers for, well, probably as long as there have been cats and humans living together.
And we've got some fascinating research to unpack today about how cats really see us.
And maybe more importantly, how they experience us with all their senses. Because it's not just about sight with these guys.
Right, so it's not just about what they see, it's the whole package, right?
Yeah.
Smells, sounds, maybe even how we feel to them.
You're exactly right. It's this whole sensory experience for them. Take their sense of smell, for instance.
Oh yeah, cats are obsessed with sniffing everything. But how does that tie into recognizing they're humans?
Well, for starters, they've got up to like 80 million scent receptors in those little noses.
Hmm.
We humans, we've only got around 5 million.
Wow, 80 million. So they're really living in a whole different world of smells than we are.
They really are, and they've even got this special organ up on the roof of their mouths called the vomeronasal organ.
The Vomero, what? Okay, you're gonna have to break that one down for me.
It's a mouthful, right. Basically, it's specifically designed to pick up pheromones.
Pheromones, right. Remind me again what those are exactly.
So pheromones are like these chemical messages that all animals, including us, give off. They can signal all kinds of things like stress levels, if an animal's ready to mate, you name it.
Okay, so it's like invisible communication.
Basically, yeah. And cats, with their super-powered sense of smell, are picking up on those pheromones all the time.
So they're getting way more information than we realize just from sniffing around. What about when they rub all over us? It's like they're trying to mark their territory or something.
That's exactly what they're doing. They've got those scent glands on their cheeks and paws, and when they rub against you, they're leaving their own pheromonal signature, essentially marking you as part of their world.
So it's a good thing when I end up covered in cat hair. Who knew?
Exactly. It's a sign of affection. But it's not just about smell. They're using their hearing, too. Remember we were talking about how in tune they are to their surroundings?
Yeah, those ears are always twitching. But how does their hearing play into all of this?
Well, their hearing is actually incredible. They can pick up a way wider range of frequencies than we can, which is super important for hunting prey in the wild. But it also means they're really sensitive to the nuances of our voices.
You mean they're not just reacting to, like, if we're angry or happy? They're picking up on more than that.
Way more. They can tell the difference between their owner's voice and a stranger's, even if they're both using the same tone.
Wow, so they really are paying attention to us. That's amazing. It's like they're learning our language, but we have no idea what they're saying back to us.
They'll be way away, yeah. And it makes sense when you think about how vital sound is for kittens. Their mother's voice is everything to them. It guides them to food, warmth, safety. So those high-pitched sing-song voices we often use with our cats, those actually tap into that deep-seated connection.
So all the baby talk isn't just us being silly, it's actually reinforcing that bond. That's incredible. But hold on, if they're so good at recognizing us by smell and sound, why do they often act like they have no idea who we are? I mean, if they know our voices that well, why do they just stare at you blankly when you call their name?
It's the classic cat move, right?
Sometimes I swear she's doing it on purpose. So are they just ignoring us?
Not exactly, no.
Yeah.
It goes back to that independent nature of theirs, remember. Dogs are pack animals. They're wired to respond to their leader, to us.
Right, they want to please us.
Exactly. But cats, they were solitary hunters for a really, really long time, like millennia. They survived by being in tune with their environment, not necessarily by, following orders.
So it's not that they're being aloof, it's just that they're wired a little differently.
Yeah, they're not ignoring you. They're just prioritizing different things, different cues. And that brings us to their vision, because that plays a big part too.
Right, we haven't even touched on how they actually see us. People always say cats' vision is kind of blurry, right? Is that true?
That's kind of a misconception, actually. While it's true they don't see colors as vividly as we do, and their close-up vision isn't as sharp, but, well, they make up for it in other ways. Remember we were talking about their wide field of vision?
Yeah, like they can see everything.
Exactly. It's like built-in panoramic vision.
Oh.
About 200 degrees compared to our measly 180.
So what's the advantage of that?
It's crucial for a hunter that needs to be aware of everything that's going on around them, They're constantly scanning for any little movement. That's why they love those toys on a string so much, by the way.
Oh, because it's like they're chasing prey.
Exactly. It mimics those erratic movements.
Okay, so if they're so good at detecting movement, Why don't they notice when I walk in the room?
Well, here's the thing. They're masters at that sudden movement. But how they process what they're seeing up close is different from us. They rely more on contrast, patterns, rather than superfine details.
So they might see us moving around, but they're not really seeing our faces.
Not in the same way we do, no. Think of it like this. They're getting a much more, well, richer picture of us from their other senses,
Like a sensory puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. Our scent, our voice, even our energy levels, all of that helps them understand who we are.
So it's not just one thing, it's the whole picture.
That's pretty amazing. It makes me think about those times when my cat seems to know exactly how I'm feeling. Like if I'm stressed, she's glued to my side. But if I'm having a bad day, she's gone. Is that a coincidence, or can they really pick up on our moods? I don't think it's a coincidence at all. Cats are really perceptive, and they're especially tuned into our emotional states.
So how do they do that? Are we sending out signals or something?
Well, remember how we talked about pheromones?
Yeah.
Humans, we actually release different ones depending on our mood. And cats, with their superpowered noses, they pick up on those subtle shifts.
So they're literally smelling our feelings. That's wild.
It's pretty amazing. And they often reflect those emotions back in their own behavior. So some cats get extra clingy when their humans are stressed, looking for comfort. Others back off, give you space.
So they are trying to help in their own way. It's like they have this whole silent language. But then there's the whole aloof thing again? If they're so good at reading us, why so cool?
That's the thing about cats, isn't it? They keep us guessing. It's something a lot of cat owners struggle with, but you have to remember, we're talking about a species that's used to being alone, to fending for themselves, showing a lot of emotion. Well, in the wild, that could be dangerous.
So they're protecting themselves by being more reserved.
Exactly. It's a survival mechanism that's deeply, deeply ingrained.
Okay, so maybe I shouldn't take it personally when my cat acts like she doesn't know me.
Exactly. It's just their way. Embrace the quirkiness. But the good news is, even though they may not always show it, cats do form incredibly strong bonds with us. It might be a slow blink, a little head boop, or a purr instead of, a face lick, but it's just as real.
So what I'm hearing is don't take it personally if your cat acts like they don't know you. They're just being cats.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Embrace the quirkiness, appreciate those subtle signs of affection, and trust that beneath that cool exterior, they really do know who you are. They value you.
That actually makes me feel a lot better. But it also makes me wonder, like, if cats could talk, what would they tell us about how they see us?
It's a really interesting thought, isn't it? I mean, we shower them with affection, try to play with them, even talk to them in those high-pitched voices.
Right. Like, what do they make of all that?
Yeah, if they could talk back, would they just be like, what are you humans doing?
Seriously, why are you so obsessed with these feathery toys?
Exactly. But, cats are incredibly adaptable. They've figured us out pretty well over the, thousands of years we've been living together.
So they've learned to speak our language, or at least understand us a little bit.
In a way, yeah. They might not get all the nuances, but they know what gets them what they want. And let's be honest, they're pretty good at training us, too.
Oh, absolutely. Mine has that I'm starving stare down, Pat, even if her bowl's still half full.
Classic.
Yeah.
But, all jokes aside, I think the big takeaway here is that, well, really understanding how cats see us is so important for building a strong bond with them.
So meeting them on their level, not expecting them to be like dogs or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Respecting their boundaries, appreciating their own way of communicating, even if it's subtle.
Learning to speak cat, even if it doesn't involve any actual words.
Exactly. A slow blink, a little head bump, that's their love language. It's about embracing all those quirky things that make cats so unique.
This has been amazing. I feel like I understand my cats so much better now.
That's what we like to hear.
And for everyone listening, the next time your cat gives you that look like they're not sure they recognize you, don't worry, it's not personal.
They're just being cats.
Exactly. Embrace the quirks. This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. Maybe I'll even understand those meows a little better now.
You never know. Thanks for joining us.
And until next time, keep those curious minds engaged.